Habaragani, welcome to the International Civil Rights Center and Museum's third night of Kwanzaa. We're thankful that you have joined us to hear our speaker this evening, Ms. Lanae Coleman. Lanae Coleman is born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana. Lanae is an inspirational speaker, poet, performing artist, author, and communication specialist. She carries over 20 years of service and leadership experience in addition to personal and professional empowerment work. Whether writing creatively, delivering a signature keynote address in the area of personal development, uplifting and gathering women together, or producing her quarterly newsletter, Edify, this overcomer is grateful and passionate about her work, her people, and her continued evolution. Kia infuses her presentations with high energy. Her natural captivating authenticity is coupled with her type of artistry that fully engages her audiences. Through her journey of healing, growth, and self-discovery, Kia recognized the tragedy of being stifled by fear, past trauma, and adversity. She is a published poet who published the poetry book, Who Is She? She Is Me. In 2022, Lanae Coleman is a certified facilitator in emotional healing circles and works closely with the Community Healing Network. The International Civil Rights Center and Museum is proud to present on the third night of Kwanzaa, Lanae Coleman speaking on the principle of Ujima, collective work and responsibility.
Happy Kwanzaa to African people everywhere throughout the world, the African community. We bring and send you Kwanzaa greetings and celebration, solidarity, and continued struggle for a shared good in this world. And in the words and way of our ancestors, we wish for you all things good, pure and beautiful, all the good that heaven grants, that earth produces, and waters that bring forth from the depths. Founder, creator of Kwanzaa, Lanae Coleman, author, professor, and again creator of the Pan-African holiday that celebrates family, community, and culture. And I am honored to be here with you today at the International Civil Rights Museum Center in Greensboro, North Carolina, and presenting on the third Kwanzaa principle, Ujima, which represents collective work and responsibility. We're going to have a conversation today just about Kwanzaa and what this principle means, what the holiday means. And so if you just come in a little closer, I want to spend just a little bit of time with you as we celebrate family and culture and our beloved community. This particular principle, the third principle and practice, is Ujima, collective work and responsibility. It urges acceptance of the shared responsibility to work together for good in this world, in this shared world, humanity that we're all in together. The good of freedom, justice, equity, peace, mutual caring and cooperation, and building the good world we all want and deserve and leave as a legacy worthy of the name African and human. It is a work and struggle that requires a genuine, sustained moral sensitivity to others, their aspirations for the good, as well as an ethical commitment to the well-being of the world and to the struggle to achieve both. I share these words, again, from Dr. Lanae Coleman. And just to give us a reminder for some and learning for others what we are celebrating and what this principle is all about. You know, as I continue to grow in appreciation for Kwanzaa, when I reflect on this particular principle of collective work and responsibility, I think about my own journey in life thus far, from childhood on up to today, I think about how inadvertently, prior to even knowing about this phenomenal holiday, that I've been, in essence, practicing the Kwanzaa principles throughout my life. And there's a term that we call, when we think about just the historical influence on our lives, even before we know what that is exactly, our ancestors working and leading us and guiding us. So when I think about Ujima, and I think about who I am and who I am becoming, my desire for community, at times there has been frustration with regards to getting us together and coming together in unity for a collective purpose. I think about someone, a special someone that would tell me, "You're always trying to rally people together and get a team together. Just do it yourself," which I understand. We're all called to do different things, but our collective work is important. The engagement one to another, the work one to another is important. Unfortunately, today, we do live in a society where it's about the individual. It's about individual achievement, and that has a place. But in light of the times that we are living in, the current times, with regards to us as an African people and our shared humanity, working together, working through our differences, taking time to appreciate our differences, and keeping our eye on that shared goal is of the utmost importance. And when I think about collective work and responsibility, I think about how this particular principle has been woven in the fabric of my life, individually and my community, and family also. It takes me back to the days growing up and seeing how my family, my community, my church community oftentimes came together for a collective goal. Whether it was raising the children, my mom raising me and my grandparents and all of my cousins and aunties and uncles there together, an extended family. I think about just those Sunday dinners, us coming together. Now, we were children, so we didn't cook, but we did partake. But I think about my loved ones and the adults bringing dishes, and my grandmother and my grandfather being excited. That's just what we did on Sunday. We came together, oftentimes after church, to fellowship. That was just something that we did. It was a part of who we were. And I'm sure it's the same with many families. And so that's what we did, the unity that was there. I think about the stories my mother shares with me. She's the youngest of 10 children, and so she has a lot of stories. She was able to see so much within her life. And when she would just share with me some of her life experiences and how it really did, not to sound cliche, it really did take a village. I remember growing up, whenever the car would break down or what have you, my uncles were, they were the mechanics. Not that that was their primary job, but if you needed something, they were there. If you needed to move, they were there. Again, informal examples of collective work and responsibility. So it takes me back to childhood, and that really set me on a path for my community work. Going all the way back to elementary school, it wasn't something to, okay, am I going to do this? It's just how I was raised. Being able to participate in the community by way of service and service leadership, and being able to come alongside others when I look at my life, even going back to my college days, being involved in many campus activities at my school, sisterhood organizations that I've been a part of, that I've also founded myself throughout the years, gatherings for women, and it's coming together, but also coming together for a collective purpose. So this principle really gets me excited because I consider myself a community person, a community-oriented person, and we all have our life seasons, but overall, being out in the community, whether it's having something at the house or having something in the community, being able to just offer that type of love, offer that type of assistance and service to a sister or brother, and even in our own families. So that is why this particular principle, Kwanzaa principle, the third principle, resonates with me. I know it's not a perfect world, but coming together and having that support system and working through a collective goal, it really is a beautiful thing. The term Ubuntu, some of you may be familiar with, I am because we are. That comes from our heritage, our African heritage. And although it's still practiced today, many of us have gotten away from that. And in some areas, to no fault of our own, just given where we are in society, even with regards to our neighborhoods, how our neighborhoods and communities have changed, how many of us have moved further away due to some of the systematic things that are in place. Another conversation for another day. But basically what I'm trying to say is that it has taken us kind of outside of community. And nowadays, when we do see each other, especially in light of the last 3 years, we're so excited to see one another. The last 3 years, it's been a challenge. We haven't been able to come together and fellowship like we like to, and we need that. That is actually good for our health. Yes, alone time is good. Yes, personal goals and achievement are also good, but there's something to be said for collective work and responsibility. When I think about, again, my life and the work that I've done, whether it's with the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, working alongside Community Healing Network with emotional emancipation circles, that type of work, that type of healing work and upliftment, coming to a place of truth and transformation and healing is needed today, now more than ever. We can actually just go back a few years, let alone decades and centuries, to look at the history, not just in this country, but throughout the world, the trauma and the results and the impact of our collective history still impacts us today, which is why when we come together, there's beauty, there's healing, there's upliftment oftentimes, which is good for the soul. When I think about the healing work that many of us are still doing today, and I think about the impact on us and future generations, I get so excited. Yes, it can be challenging. Yes, the work is over, it's never ending. But if we can just move the needle a bit for us, but more so for the future generation, I hope I don't sound cliche, but that is who it is about. Us as we're here today, in the present sense, but those generations that are coming behind us, that are looking to us. Oftentimes we say, the younger generations are this, the younger generations don't know anything about that. Things have changed, and I'm talking about throughout humanity. But what came to me recently is we can't look at them alone and look at the shortcomings of the generations behind us, just as generations before me looked at my generation. We can't look at them just one-on-one without taking a look at ourselves. What have we done to contribute towards the betterment of humanity? Have we stepped outside of ourselves, our own worlds, our own problems and challenges that we all have, to say, how can I come alongside this person, this young person, this person in my community, this person at my church, this person in my organization? What can I do? And so that's the question I ask you to think about. What can I do? I was just telling, I think I was telling my mom the other day, just because we're in this fast-paced society and everything's fast, we're all on our devices, we're all guilty, right? And the level, to me, the level of self-awareness and engagement just day to day has seemed to decrease, right? Yes, technology has its advantages and conveniences, but seeing one another, letting people know I see you and I appreciate you, goes a long way. getting back to the conversation with my mother. I told her, I said, you know, when I go to the grocery store, I love seeing the young people working. It takes me back to when I had my jobs in various industries growing up and even in school and after school as a young adult. And when you see them, when I see them and I say thank you, or I look at them, even say, thank you, sweetheart, how they just light up. Like you see me. And that's just something I do, you know, and that I appreciate as well. But the younger generation, I believe they're saying, do you see me? A lot of folks are struggling this day and age, coming out of the pandemic, which I don't know about coming out, but being 3 years, this is 2022, if you will. And the things that accompanied the pandemic has done a number on us, and we were already wounded as a people, as an African people, as humanity overall. We already are working through trauma and wounds. And when we look at the economic challenges as a result, when we look at the family divide as a result, when we look at the health disparities as a result, it has been very traumatic, personally, within our communities. But here we are today, still looking up, going onward, moving forward as best as we know how. And I just challenge us not to forget about our neighbors, not to forget, to remember Ujima, collective work and responsibility, coming together when we can, as we can, coming alongside for that shared purpose and shared goal, and also coming together to share joy and love. Those are some things that I think, and I don't want to speak for everybody, that a lot of us may be struggling with. Just the day-to-day joy, peace, some of the things that we have to work hard for. We have to protect our peace in this society and protect our joy as we are navigating the times that we're living in. So I want to encourage you wherever you are today to continue to see yourself and to see one another in the spirit of Kwanzaa. Again, cultural holiday does not mean you can't celebrate the other holidays that you celebrate, but this is truly about community, about culture, about unity. And we celebrate with festivals. We come together, we dance, we eat, we do reenactments. We have a good time, and this is our time, and we need more and more of that. And as I think about being in this space, as you see the sit-in lunch counter display right here, standing in a historical site where the 4 young men came together, college students, for a greater good. What a beautiful example of collective work and responsibility. Their work, their conviction sparked the sit-in movement across this country for equality. I get overwhelmed when I think about it. And so right here, right today, in this space and in this place is a beautiful example of Ujima. The great and late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are who you are to be." Again, Ubuntu, this is the interrelated structure of reality. Family, as we continue onward and upward in the midst of these strange and heavy times, I pray that we do so hand in hand with the Most High God. I pray that we do so with unshakable faith and tenacity, with faith and hope and love from the inside out, where we are, all handling the things that we are handling today. I pray that we do so in the spirit of truth and wisdom and discernment in all circumstances. I pray that we continue to heal and recover both individually and collectively. I pray that we heal where healing is needed, and we have a willingness to heal in the areas where healing is needed. As we continue onward and upward, I pray that we courageously lean into greater love, our divine power, grace, gratitude, and peace that illuminates from the inside out. I pray that we do so knowing who we are, understanding how the past affects the present and the future, having the uncomfortable conversations that we need to have to get towards a greater good, knowing that we are indeed, as a people, worthy of love, of peace, of harmony, of joy, of serenity. That is my prayer, and that is my hope for us today and for tomorrow and the days that come. I challenge you today to think about what you're currently doing and the opportunities for you to come alongside, join a team, engage in your community, and make the difference that you have been purposed to make. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Cherish the day, good people. Keep rising. Keep rising.
We thank you for joining us this evening. We are inviting you to come back for our fourth night of Kwanzaa, where we will hear a dynamic entrepreneur extraordinaire, Mr. Gary McCants, speaking on the principle of Ujima, cooperative economics.